Shaco has always been a champion that instills fear into any team he plays against. From multi-million point mastery Shaco mains that cheese you early game, to useless clowns, you never quite know what kind of player you're going to face. Our Shaco player, named Fenrir the Wolf King, is a Korean Grandmaster Shaco player with a very unique playstyle. He started playing the game at the end of Season 7, playing normal games up to level 30, gravitated towards Jungle, and found his first favourite champion, Shaco. In his first ranked season, Season 8, he shot right up to Diamond 5, mostly playing his Shaco Jungle and some Rakan support, not taking the game too seriously. In Season 9, he even took a break, not playing many ranked games and decaying down to Plat. Fenrir considered if he even wanted to return to ranked and keep grinding, or if he was not good enough to make it. In Season 10, he decided he would go all in on Shaco, playing over 600 games of it over the course of the season. He had a goal of Master. He started off the season slow, being placed in Plat. Over the next 6 months, he spammed Shaco Jungle, and after 6 months of hard work, he reached that goal of Master in July. Fenrir had done so well, he decided to continue, to see how high he could go, but after a couple more months of trying, he was not making much progress, even spending a whole month of games to only gain 35 LP. In October 2020, after a streak of losses, he felt unable to get past this wall. In a moment of tilt, he decided to try something new, and he made his greatest discovery. He locked in Shaco Support, and it instantly clicked with his playstyle. From there, he jumped straight up to Grandmaster over the next month, and then the next month higher and higher, peaking at 733 LP, only 100 LP from Challenger. This is the equivalent to rank 150 on NA Challenger, or rank 300 on EU Just Challenger. From his experience with Shaco Jungle, Fenrir was able to develop an absolutely crazy playstyle that still gives him success in Season 11. I'm going to show you how he did it. Quickly before we continue, most people who watch my videos are not subscribed, so make sure to subscribe if you like this kind of content. Now back to Shaco. First off, let me say, Fenrir is absolutely the most troll player I have ever watched in high elo. As a player, he absolutely loves the Shaco mentality, being a nuisance, and he knows the effect it has on enemies. Even here, at his highest rank he's ever been, playing a game literally against Faker on Anivia, he is just dancing in the enemy base, daring enemies to try and hit him. This is the genius of the pick, and I will show you why. Shaco is a champion that is meant to be very slippery, and also loves to taunt. Fenrir uses this playstyle as AP Support Shaco to be as big of a target in every game as he can make himself. There is a reason he averages almost 7 deaths a game, and that reason is because he is forcing enemies to try and kill him due to their own frustration, and his team is getting the full benefit. Whatever point in the game, Fenrir is the most juicy target for an enemy to dive on, and Fenrir knows this, so he constantly baits them into bad situations. Also in Season 11, Imperial mandate supports are king, and Shaco may be one of the best. He has a special interaction with it, with his boxes and his clone even able to pop the mark solo. He doesn't even need a teammate to make the item gold efficient, making it very OP on him. If you analyze Shaco as a bot lane champion, he seems pretty useless. He is squishy, he doesn't have much CC, and his damage is quite hard to land. These are all true, but Fenrir has found solutions to all of them. At level 1, even before minions spawn, he is giving his team an advantage. He rushes out of base and places a counter invade box as soon as possible in front of this river bush, so that enemies cannot enter from either side. After this, he stacks 2 boxes on his jungler's buff, one at 50 seconds, one when it's off cooldown, and then one just out of range with a gromp so your jungler can pull it into the box. This lets him and his AD carry instantly walk to lane without leashing, giving them early wave and bush control, which is actually vital in Korean Challenger. On bot side, he does the same with his jungler's red buff, instead saving the gromp box to place in lane, partially to stop a level 2 gank and partially to give them some extra lane control. In lane at level 1, his main goal is to control the lane bushes. He only has his W, so he places it down and sits in the same bush. If enemies ever try to find him, they'll be feared and out-traded. If they do not, then his AD carry is free to farm, while he is providing an invisible pressure. At level 2, he takes E, pushing forwards for some extra poke, but mostly again playing safe, adding more boxes and bushes and daring enemies to look in them. At level 3, Fenrir often looks for an all-in with his Q stealth. He's been playing safe all-lane phase so far, so enemies are not worried about him. He hits level 3 in the bush if possible so they don't notice, and stealths forward, throwing a box behind the enemy AD carry and looking to burst them with his Ignite. Either way, Fenrir has a summoner spell advantage, as he has Ignite Exhaust. He's not going to lose this fight level 3, and a trade of summoners will always be worth it. Shaco has a better version of Flash that also gives him invisible on a 7-second cooldown on his Q, so he doesn't need the mobility or safety it gives. Exhaust gives safety for him and his AD carry all the way to late game, and Ignite gives kill pressure in any lane. You might be thinking, what does he do against really bad matchups, like a tank high CC champion for example? Well, he has a counter to that too. He can use his boxes to block enemy skill shots, for example a Thresh or a Nautilus hook. This gives him a lot of safety when combined with his Q, and he can even use it to save his AD carry. Oh, and even if you don't have the reaction time for it, just get hooked and then use your Q Q to instantly jump away to safety, maybe even walk into the hooks to keep pressure off your AD carry, as you'll always get out safely. After level 3, he continues with his box placement, aiming to set up anti-gank boxes that will buy time for him and his AD carry to get out, or even turn a 2v3. It's quite similar playstyle to how you wouldn't want to gank against a Heimerdinger, because his turrets can 1v2 against you, and if you lose that, you basically lose the game. And don't forget, in lane he is BMing and baiting as much as he possibly can, starting the mind games early and looking to tilt enemies. Imagine you're a Korean challenger player who has dedicated years of your life to perfecting your AD carry positioning and last hitting. Then some clown comes into your lane, being impossible to catch and leaving invisible burst traps everywhere. Your enemies are not going to have a tilt-free game. Furthermore, Shaco is insane at countering dive. With boxes set up in lane, enemies struggle to approach, and if your teammate is being dived on, just put a box down for them to kite into so that enemies cannot hit them. Like in this clip where he uses his Q to dodge damage, stay mobile, and puts boxes down in high traffic areas to stall out the dive as long as he can, leading to his team collapsing and getting a big advantage off an enemy play. He's also got a great thresh counter. Using your W on top of the lantern means the enemies can't even take it. At level 6, you unlock AP Shaco's highest damage spike with his clone. You also unlock an extra safety net, as you can use it to basically become invulnerable for a short time and also dodge CC with it. This guy is insane at convincing enemies to kill the clone with mind games. At most elos, players will just hit whichever clone is closest to them and hope for the best. Then at higher elos, players will try to work out which is the clone based on the positioning and how they both move. This Shaco anticipates this, so it makes his clone position opposite to what you would expect, in the safe location. No one would ever expect a 1 HP support Shaco to be sitting on top of them auto-attacking, so enemies focus the safer clone and get themselves killed. By the time you've convinced an enemy to put all of their time killing your clone, it's too late for them to change their mind and they're already dead. The clone can also be used to tower dive. Just let it tank and deal damage to the enemy. Once it explodes, it traps them inside the field of boxes, doing a lot of damage to them. Just make sure your AD carry doesn't int into the tower as the clone dies. In mid-game, he spams boxes around mid lane to control the lane and deny enemies going anywhere near it. This gives him and his AD carry a lane to farm and pressure safely, once again giving his team an advantage over the enemy AD carry. Similar to a Jhin or a Teemo, he places them in high activity areas that enemies are likely to walk through, for example next to walls, in choke points. It also acts as an extra vision and map control for your team, placed next to walls so that minions don't trigger them. In fights, he's even happy to just AFK on a box on low HP, so that enemies have no choice but to try and kill him, which means they're baited in and die to his team. Even if you're low HP after a play, sometimes it can be better to stay and look like an easy target rather than basing and being at full HP. And if you get a play like that to work, the enemies will be tilted for the rest of the game. But what about late game? In fights, you want to be as juicy a bait as you can be. You're very squishy, so enemies know they can kill you. Use this to your advantage to act like your alter position. With the CC from your boxes, the invisible from your Q, the slow you have on your E, and using your ults to dodge CC, as well as often a stopwatch or a Zhonya's, you are so hard to kill and can provide a lot of utility that distracts enemies. You can also use a combo like Q onto the enemy AD carry, box them, E, R to avoid damage, and kill them with the clone boxes. So you can either assassinate or bait. Another cool thing he does is walk the clone into the fight with his team. It's quite a low level tactic, but it can still lead to enemies being caught out thinking he is being over aggressive. Here is a perfect fight example for you. He has boxes set up in a possible fight location where enemies could try to dive into him. He then positions too far forwards to bait enemy CC and then uses his Q to escape before the fight. He joins the fight by positioning in front of a carry to get them to go on him. He then uses ults to dodge any damage and then positions his clone in a group of enemies for max damage. After this, he kites into another box to finish off the fight. Here's another perfect fight example where he basically wins it solo. He exhausts the incredibly strong enemy carry when they go in to stop their damage. He baits them onto him, which lets his Orianna hit a good ult. He then peels away using his clone, fears to CC the carries, and uses another box to chain that CC, which insta-kills the remaining enemies. Enemies in this fight only interacted with Shaco, and he was much too slippery to be caught. Late game and team fighting is actually one of the best parts about this playstyle. If you play against a Shaco support, the correct play is basically to ignore him and focus on the other champions. Even during times where he looks like he is out of position, you still should not even try to catch him, as most of the time he is just baiting you to go into a box. But players are not disciplined enough to do that. In low elo, they will not think about it before diving you, giving you a free kill. At higher elos, they will make a judgment that you have made a mistake and try to capitalize on it, as they should versus every other champion in the game, but still, you bait them into a box and kill them. Even in a fight, a support is usually a free kill that can give your team an advantage to turn it in your favor. But in reality, when fighting Shaco support, all he is a time waster waster for the enemy team. If you try to chase him, he jumps away or baits you into his high damage boxes and clone. If you run from him, he will chase you and make his clone explode. So again, you're taking high damage. It is always a win-win situation for Shaco, as long as you have the cooldowns ready and boxes prepared in places you can bait enemies into. If you don't like AP Shaco support, Fenrir has even tried AD Shaco support. The goal of this style is to take Q at level 1 and just go for early all-ins on the enemy AD carry. This works great versus low CC supports and non-shielding supports, as they cannot protect their AD carry from the damage. This is a great cheese pick for all the lows. The AP is Fenrir's favourite. Fenrir does still play Jungle Shaco as a secondary sometimes, but you could easily also take this top lane and play a TP Ignite Shaco, doing a very similar job. So you got AP support, AD jungle, and AP top. Shaco can be played in so many ways. For summoner spells, Fenrir always takes Ignite, Exhaust for kill pressure and safety from carries. Nothing feels better than having a fed carry dive you late game and hitting them with an Exhaust so they instantly die and you win the game. For his build, he always starts Spell Thieves and buys Imperial Mandate as soon as possible. If he's having a good early game, he gets Dark Seal to start snowballing. Every game he gets Lucidity Boots for extra ability haste. After this he buys Zhonya's pretty much every game. It's so good for baiting more damage and more dives on him and gives him a lot of safety. These are his core items, but afterwards he often buys anti-heal in the form of Chemtech Purifier. Otherwise he grabs Stirring Wardstone, the item that lets you place 4 wards and 2 control wards at once, giving his team even more vision control. Other good items are Cosmic Drive and eventually Rabadons. Here are the runes he takes every game: Comet for extra poke damage and lots of CDR for more boxes, as well as more safety from his Q. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoyed, check out my other similar videos here.